Hey there, this is a video about replacing a potentiometer on a Vox Lil nitrain. Right now I'm testing the new potentiometer to make sure it works. In this case, this one is a 258.8 k ohm resistor. And now I'm testing the potentiometer by turning it just to make sure it goes through all the values. I already removed the potentiometer, and you'll notice there are the three places, or the holes left over, where the new pot is going to go. And when I took it out, some of the rings came out. But what I'm showing you here is that only some of the points mattered. So those two need to be soldered, and that one doesn't. And when you turn the board over, the two outer points need to be soldered too. So I actually did a pretty clean removal of the old pot, which meant this went in really easily. All the holes were cleaned out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder it from underneath, because I need to flip it over and solder the other side too, but I don't have a good way of holding it in place. And a pro tip for soldering is you want to heat up the components and then touch the solder to the components, and when it's hot enough it'll flow onto the components. So you're not trying to melt the solder itself. Okay, the bottom's done. And now I'm going to get the top. The top's kind of tricky, so I'm trying to maneuver it so I can get the soldering iron there without burning anything else and be able to get the solder in place. And you don't need tons of solder, just a little bit, and have it flow in there nicely is what you need. So it's kind of hard to see, but I'm heating it from behind, and then I'm pushing the solder in from the front. Okay, I'm going to double check the bottom to make sure I have good solder joints. And I was not happy with those joints, so I'm adding a bit extra solder. And I add more to that one, even though it's not connected to anything. I think it just makes me feel good. Alright, so now that's all soldered up, the pot is installed. Now I need to reinstall the motherboard. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but we'll go with motherboard. Before I took it apart, I took photos of where all the wires went to make it so I reassembled it correctly. And I could have screwed the screws in from the top here, but I left those in another room. So what I did is I'm just going to screw on one potentiometer here to hold it in place, then flip it over and install the tubes. It's a little dusty, so I thought I'd clean it off. So now I'm installing the tubes. There's a little gap in the pins and they only go in one way. After installing the tubes, the next step is to put on the tube retaining clips. And they have springs on them, and they're kind of a little fussy to put on. I think the best way to put these on is to do the first screw kind of halfway, and then put the second screw in all the way, and then go back and finish the first screw. And I dropped it. And now it's time to reconnect all the wires. Oh wait, no it's not. It's time to put the lid on first. That just goes on with 8 screws. I flipped it over because it was easier to line up the holes. And I'm referencing the pictures I took earlier about where to plug everything in. There is a little zip tie in the middle, and instead of cutting it, I kind of left it there and tried reusing it. There are 3 screws that you can use to hold on the main board. That one wasn't pushed down far enough, so then I moved over to the one on the left, and then that pushed it down far enough I could put the one on top in. Now it's time to put on the bottom plate, and that goes on with 4 screws. So now it's time to finish putting on the nuts and stuff on the potentiometers. I probably should have a socket wrench, but I use a crescent wrench. That's the audio jack. And putting on the chicken heads, you want to flip them all to one side or the other, and then you can orient them so they look the same. And it's done.